Good morning, East Texas. I'm meteorologist Sarah Blue. Thanks so much for joining us on the CBS 19 Plus live stream. We're live on CBS 19 Plus on Facebook and on YouTube. I'll be monitoring the Facebook comments, so if you have questions about the potential for the upcoming severe weather, we have some on the way tonight as well as early tomorrow morning. I'm going to be breaking it down for you. I'll go ahead and be monitoring the Facebook comments. So if you have questions, comment them there, and I will do my best to get to everyone. That way you can make sure you feel prepared for the storms coming ahead. So we're starting off with just a look at our radar. Right now, some showers are popping up off to our west, out toward Ennis, and moving through the Dallas area. There are a few scattered showers toward Athens and toward Canton. I'm not tracking anything, though, that is more than just a light rainfall. Really, though, for more storm activity, you have to look way up to the north into Oklahoma. And wow, things are really exploding up there. We're tracking a pretty severe thunderstorm that's moving through Oklahoma. But all of this is moving out of our area, so we don't have anything to worry about here in East Texas through the morning. Now, we will be tracking a rather quiet morning here in East Texas. I talked to you about it over the past several days. You know, the cap, that limiting layer of warm air that keeps storms from forming. We're once again dealing with that in the morning, so we're in a holding pattern. But as we get to the afternoon, we begin to see the cap weaken as well as storms pick up. So I could say the earliest we could start to see this for our westernmost cities is going to be closer to 2, maybe 3 p.m. So Athens, Emory, Mineola, even Sulphur Springs, I'm talking to you guys. This is going to continue to push through East Texas. And as we go through the rest of the afternoon, that severe weather threat is going to continue to grow as it reaches the center part of our viewing area. So we're looking at Smith County, Gregg County, Upshur, Camp, that area. We're going to see these storms kind of take off. Gusty winds, hail, and the potential for a spin-up tornado are all on the table this afternoon. We will continue to deal with this all through the rest of the afternoon and into parts of the early evening. Now, not all of us are going to see severe weather, but a lot of us have the potential to. Make sure that you are staying weather aware so you're ready if severe weather strikes your area. Now, we are seeing a level 4 out of 5 risk of severe weather. We haven't had something this high in East Texas in about 2 years, if not a little bit longer. That's for the areas that are shaded in red on your screen. So we're looking at parts of Gregg County, the northern part of Smith County, up through areas toward the Arklatex. And it does extend farther than that, but that's out of our state. We're tracking a level 3 risk for all the areas shaded in the orange color on your screen. So Smith County, parts of Cherokee and Rusk County as well. That level 2 and the level 1 popping up out to our south. So really that main risk of severe weather is staying near I-20 and up to the north. And that's where we will likely see the worst of the storms. Now, the thing that is a bit concerning about this is we're tracking a very high potential for some significant tornadoes. So we are seeing about a 2% risk for the areas shaded in this light green on your screen, a 5% risk for all of the areas in brown. And then this really climbs sharply as you get to the yellow and the red. Yellow, that's a 10% risk, and then a 15% risk of tornadoes for the areas shaded in red. That's equal to where we were seeing the red and the orange on the previous map. What I'm watching, though, is you see these stripes going across your screen. That's what's known as a hatched region. And what we're expecting in that hatched region is the potential for strong tornadoes. That's something that the National Weather Service has its own classification for. Essentially, that means that could be an EF2 or higher. That would put winds inside that tornado at about 111 miles per hour or higher. So make sure that you are staying aware if you live in any of these shaded areas, especially in the hatched area. That's parts of Smith County, Rusk County, the northern part of Cherokee County. Make sure that you are staying weather aware and that you know your safe place. Now, we're really going to see the tornado energy kick off as we hit the afternoon. I'm looking between maybe 3 and 6 p.m. when we see the bulk of that tornado energy. Now, we could see something spin outside of that window. That's just when we have the highest shot. Now, you're seeing these dark maroons pop up on your screen. That's where I'm seeing the bulk of this tornado energy. What we're looking at here is a helicity index. That's the scientific word for it. All you need to know is that is tornado energy, and the darker the color, the more energetic we have for that area. So the higher chance that you could see something spin. Now, not all of us are going to see some sort of tornado or even any rotation. Some of us might not even see rain, but make sure that you are ready in case. So it's going to be the afternoon for areas along and north of I-20, and really that tornado threat grows the closer you get to the Arklatex and up to the northeast. But by the time we get to the evening, closer to 10, a lot of that tornado energy disappears and gets knocked out of the atmosphere. Some of it could even get used up as the storms go through. But like I said, the best thing you could do, make sure that you know your safe place. So what is your safe place? It is the lowest level of the building. If you can go underground, that is the best option for you. I know a lot of us out here in East Texas don't have storm shelters, but you want to make sure that you are ready and have a place to go. If you live in an apartment building, maybe if you're friends with your downstairs neighbors, that could help as well. Or if you can go to the ground floor into the office, that would be a good option if you live on an upper story. You want to go to an interior room, so put as many layers between you and the outside as possible. An interior room, usually it's a bathroom, a closet, sometimes a hallway. Really though, usually you look in that bathroom closet area. The whole point here is you want to put as many layers between you and that tornado as possible. A lot of times the issues that we see with tornadoes is it picks up debris and it throws it. And that's where we see a lot of the injuries come in. So you want to put as many layers of protection in case something gets thrown in your direction. And you know what? It goes even beyond than just seeing walls between you and that potential severe weather. If you have a mattress that you can put over top of your tub or at least against your walls, that's a layer as well. If you have a jacket, that helps you in case there is any flying debris that is smaller. A tip that I recently learned from the National Weather Service is you want to make sure that before you go to your safe place, you put on your shoes. It's a very small thing, but if there is a tornado that sweeps by your area and you're exiting your safe place after, there could be shards of glass on the ground. There could be splinters, and you want to make sure that your feet are protected. So if you're usually at home and you don't wear shoes, you're a shoeless household, make sure that you're putting that on before you go back into your safe place. Also, make sure that you have 2 ways to receive warnings. One of us can be us here at CBS 19. In the event there is a tornado warning in the area, we'll be streaming. If it's in some of the more populated counties, we will break into programming. That's our designated area. That's Smith County, Upshur County, Gregg County, as well as Rusk County and down to the south as well. Those are a few more counties in there, but we will break into programming. If there is a tornado warning anywhere in East Texas, though, we will be streaming on CBS 19 Plus. That's the app that you're likely watching this on right now. We'll also be streaming on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live, so you can make sure you're getting the latest information that way. But make sure you have a secondary way to get it, because if we are streaming on CBS 19 Plus, what happens if your phone dies or if you're unable to see your TV anymore? You need to have that second method. I recommend having a NOAA weather radio. That's a good option as well. You can look up online to see what station to tune that to. It's not an AM or FM station. It's a third frequency, so you'll need to change that setting on there. But make sure you have that and are keeping yourself safe and up to date with the forecast. All right, going back to your safe place, what is the best option for you? So remember, you want to find the most interior room on the lowest level of the building. We have the option of a garage, a closet, bedroom, living room, kitchen, outside over here, a deck as well. What do you think is going to be the safest option? Well, you want to put as many layers between you and the outside. So really, the hall, the closet is a good option as well. The worst place to be in a floor plan like this would be out on the deck. You want to make sure that you are avoiding being outdoors on a tornado or if there is a tornado warning. And I know that a lot of us in East Texas do this. I myself am guilty of it sometimes, where you go and you sit and you watch the tornado go by. Please don't do that if you are under a tornado warning. You want to make sure that you and your loved ones are safe. Set a good example for your kiddos and make sure that you are going to your safe place. Also, don't forget to grab your pets because you want them to be safe as well. And consider if you have elderly loved ones who live with you, they may need a bit of extra assistance getting to that safe place. So go ahead and make sure you're reviewing your severe weather safety plan and, of course, allotting for any extra time that you may need. Now, these are the best options, but remember, underground is going to keep you the safest. If you have a basement or a storm shelter, that's a good option as well. If you don't have one and your neighbors do, talk to them. Maybe if there is a tornado warning, you're able to use their underground basement to keep yourself safe. Alrighty, now we're not seeing really any rain across East Texas right now. Things are on the cooler end. We had a stationary front. That's something that we have just been dealing with for the past several days. That's why it's been so gloomy outside and stormy. Over the evening, it did come down and it touched Tyler, which is farther south than a lot of our weather model data pushed it. It cooled things down, but it's beginning to lift back up to the west. Now it's sitting just toward the Dallas area, closer to Fort Worth, and stretching toward parts of South Texas. Now this is the driver of our weather system today. It's what's causing the potential for these storms. It's set to kind of meander back into East Texas in the afternoon, and that combined with the setup that we're seeing in the atmosphere along with the heat of the day is what we are seeing to cause the potential for those severe thunderstorms. Now it is also going to kind of set up a weird temperature split. So we're looking at the 70s from Canton to Sulphur Springs, 80s this afternoon. So it'll be on the warmer end, very humid for all the areas that you're seeing 80 or above 80. Tonight, we're still seeing that temperature split. Cooler overnight toward Palestine, Canton, into Sulphur Springs. Tonight, though, we will only make it down to the 70s and 80s for our easternmost counties. Now, what's happening? We have the front swinging through. Cooler air begins to take over, and that's bringing a secondary severe weather threat tomorrow morning. So we have one this afternoon and then another one around sunrise. This monster of a storm system is going to push in from the west. It'll kick up some gusty winds. It'll drop some hail. Once again, we could see the potential for some tornadoes. This time they would be embedded somewhere in this line. This will start early tomorrow morning and continue to work its way through East Texas. Now, this one is going to pack quite a punch. So we could see some downed power lines, potentially some downed tree limbs as well. There's a chance that you may lose power as this moves through. So you want to make sure that you have any extra battery packs for your phone or anything that you may need. Go ahead and charge that. That way you are ready to go. If you have a backup generator, make sure that you are reviewing how to use that safely. You want to make sure that it's far enough away from your home that there's no risk of fire. But of course, make sure that that is all ready to go as well in case you do lose power as this moves through. This is going to last through the morning. By the time we get to the mid to late morning, the bulk of the wind is starting to shift over to Louisiana. But we still will be tracking quite a few little thunderstorms moving through. This one could drop some heavy downpours. We're also tracking the potential for some decently sized hail as well as some gusty winds. That will be the bigger threat. That tornado risk is going to be mainly in the morning along the leading edge of the system, but as it starts to move into Louisiana, that tornado threat drops and instead it shifts over to gusty winds and hail. Now we will be dealing with these thunderstorms pretty much through the whole day tomorrow. It begins to clear out closer to sunset. Instead, we'll just be tracking a breezy northerly wind at that time. So looking ahead to Saturday, we see a level 3 risk of severe weather popping up out to our east. This starts Saturday at 7 a.m. and then continues through 7 a.m. on the next Sunday. A lot of us sitting under that level 2 risk of severe weather on Saturday. The biggest risk Saturday, the damaging wind gusts. Those can get up to around 70 miles per hour, so make sure that you are staying weather aware. And I would recommend staying inside until these winds pass you by, because like I said, wow, these are going to pack a bit of a punch. What's happening is we have the stationary front that I've been talking about for the past few days picking up steam, and it finally becomes a cold front and it clears out of here. That's what's going to bring a bit of a temperature drop, or I should say a significant temperature drop to our area as we get into the beginning of next week. It's also going to squeeze a lot of the humidity that's in our air out, and that means lots of rain is coming through. Because of that, a flood watch is still in effect for areas along I-30 and along the Oklahoma border. That's where we're going to pick up the most rain in East Texas over the next few days. So today and tomorrow, and as well as into Sunday, but most of it's coming through today and tomorrow, we could pick up to half a foot of rain for areas along the Oklahoma border. In the I-20 corridor, that's going to be closer to the lower end of this range, but still 4-5 inches are not out of question for this. Lots of rain coming through. Remember to stay weather aware and never drive into floodwaters. So this we are dealing with, once again, that gusty wind threat, the tornado threat and the hail threat, along with the potential for flooding. All of that begins to be a little bit riskier the farther north that you go there. So make sure that you're staying weather aware and frequently checking back with the forecast. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and check out our Facebook comments to see if you guys have any questions. All right, I'm seeing questions from Brenda. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Brenda. I'm also seeing Tyler's in the chat and Sergio. Thank you so much for joining us on the CBS 19 live stream. Brenda is asking for that already, yeah, that where the highest risk is. So this is for today. It is from 7 a.m. today through 7 a.m. tomorrow. So when we're seeing the two big storm systems come through, I'm seeing questions about Kilgore. So we are seeing in Smith County that level 4 risk pop up for the northern part of Smith County. Here in Tyler and in Kilgore, we're sitting kind of right on the edge of that. Still, though, a level 3 is significant. So make sure that you are driving carefully. Now, Brenda, I see that you are traveling later this evening. If you are traveling, roads are going to be very, very dicey out there. Make sure that you are frequently checking the forecast. You want to make sure that you're not in a vehicle if there is a tornado warning in your area. So please make sure that you have some sort of radar app. We have that on our app on CBS 19. If you download it, it's available on the App Store and Google Play. It's free. If you go under the weather tab there, you can click on the radar. You may have to scroll down just a little bit. If you click on the radar, that will show you where the storms are actively happening. If you don't want to download that on your smartphone and you'd rather track things on a computer, if you go to the National Weather Service website, they have live radar there as well. You can't zoom in quite as much, but it still is going to give you the most up-to-date rain as well as where we're seeing watches and warnings. So I want to make sure that you guys have that availability as well. All right, I see Tyler is in the chat saying that Tyler, please don't stay on the deck if you are watching a tornado go by. All right, Sergio, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday morning as well. I'm going to switch back over to radar and see what's happening. Now, we did have a few scattered showers move through in the early morning hours, but a lot of that has begun to clear out. And instead, we are tracking just a few pockets of downpours. That's mainly out to our west. But really, it's beginning to lose some steam. So out toward Terrell, Dallas, into the Fort Worth area and through North Texas. Let me go ahead and turn on, I have to turn on another layer here, so you're going to see the radar change, but it's just making things a bit clearer for us to see. So from the Dallas area up to Oklahoma, really into parts of the Midwest, you can track that stationary front so clearly on our radar. So from the Lone Star State, which is where we are seeing this stationary front, which is what's causing all of that weather, and make sure that you are staying weather aware. Now, we do have this stationary front, which is cutting through the Lone Star State. It is going all the way back into the Midwest there. We're seeing lots of heavy downpours come through. Let me see, what is that? That is, I believe, Tennessee, Kentucky area that we have all of these, what you're seeing in purple, are flash flood warnings, so heavy downpours out there. And that's all a result of this stationary front, which just has not moved. That's why we've had these storms back to back to back to back, and we really haven't seen some sunshine. Now, it should clear our area closer to sometimes Saturday evening. That's why things calm down on Sunday, but just make sure that you are staying weather aware out there. Now, really, a lot of this storm is up to our north, so we're not seeing anything severe in our area just yet. We are just seeing those isolated pockets of rain out there. I'm seeing a few scattered showers again to pick up toward the Dallas area, but really most of this is coming through this afternoon. Let me give you one more look at future skycast. So it's going to be sometime after 2 p.m. that we see these begin to pick up. They will bring a risk of gusty winds, hail, and the potential for tornadoes. This is all along and north of I-20. If you're in deep East Texas, you're kind of out of the woods when it comes to the worst of the severe weather threat. However, I am watching just these isolated storm systems that are moving up from the south. A lot of times in East Texas, when we have a storm taking this track, it likes to spin, especially near the Sabine County area. So just make sure that you are staying weather aware. Really, I think if we're going to see something pop, it's going to be along I-20 or up to the north, but we could just see something begin to spin out there. So make sure you're staying weather aware throughout all of East Texas. Again, it's that afternoon that we have the biggest chance to see something spin. Our next risk of severe weather after tonight, so after 11 p.m., we have a few hours of downtime before that next storm system swings through. That's going to be early tomorrow morning before sunrise. So we could see a few scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder here and there in the overnight hours, but it's going to be around sunrise, before sunrise really, that we see these storms begin to kick in. they are slamming into East Texas. Gusty winds. This could bring wind gusts around 70 miles per hour. Again, the big risk with this is we could see some power lines get knocked down. We could even see some trees get knocked down. So make sure that you are staying cautious, especially for my folks who live in mobile homes. You're more at risk to see some sort of damage than in a permanent structure. So make sure that you are staying cautious and staying aware. This is set to come in early tomorrow morning. So a lot of us will still be asleep when that happens. What you can do is make sure that you have something that is going to wake you up if there is some sort of tornado warning in your area. So if you go into your phone and you have the emergency wireless alerts turned on, that's the same thing for when you get a tornado warning. Your phone is going to buzz a lot. It'll do that tone that you hear. It's the same tone as the amber alerts or a silver alert. You want to make sure that the volume on your phone is turned up. That way, if you are asleep and there's a warning in your area, you're going to hear it. It'll wake you up and make sure that you can get to your safe place. I'd also recommend making sure that you have some sort of shoes by your bed. That way you can put your shoes on before you go seek shelter. Because once again, this is coming through before sunrise. A lot of us will probably be asleep at that point. This will continue to work its way through East Texas tomorrow morning. Gusty winds, hail. Once again, we could see a few embedded tornadoes in that as well. A lot of us will be waking up during this time, but just make sure that you are staying weather aware. A few patches of hail are very likely through deep East Texas at that time. Again, some gusty winds that we're going to have to deal with all through the day and into the afternoon tomorrow, as well as some heavy downpours that are coming through. So make sure that you are really just watching. Travel is going to be rather dicey, so make sure that you are staying cautious. I personally would recommend delaying travel as much as you can on Saturday. The later in the day you travel, that will be a lot safer for you. But again, it's going to be a bit dicey on those roadways. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and switch back, give you guys one last look at our 7-day forecast. We're going to continue to bring you updates through the rest of the day. I will be back here at 11 a.m. to answer any questions that you have. We'll also have our chief meteorologist, Brett Anthony. He'll be streaming, I believe, at 3 or 3:30 later today, and then again closer to 8 p.m. We'll continue to bring you the latest. If we do have a tornado warning, we will break into coverage. So we'll break on to CBS19, even if we don't have a scheduled newscast. We'll be live here on CBS19 Plus, Facebook, and on YouTube. And in the event that there is a tornado warning, we will be live with our radio partners as well. So you won't see the graphics, but you will hear our voices. That's on 1065 Jack FM, Kicks 1057, 1041, and 1037 The Ranch, as well as La Emisora 467. So make sure that you have a way to receive weather information and that you are having conversations now with your loved ones about what to do in the event that there is some sort of severe weather, especially that goes for your kiddos. This could get a bit dicey when they're coming home from school. So I would recommend making sure that they have some way to get home. If they traditionally walk, they'll need to take the school bus or get a ride with a friend, or you can pick them up because it's going to be a little dicey for them to be outside. And of course, have conversations with them on what to do if there is a thunderstorm warning or really a tornado warning. That's the bigger issue in your area. So I hope you guys are staying weather aware. We'll have more updates later, and have a fantastic Friday.